ladies. No. Emily Christoffersen, resident hair and wig artisan for Trinity Rep.
Yes.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we were just talking to Christina about the Hairbrained program at the Providence Public Library. This weekend, you're going to be doing a workshop on historical hair and wigs for theater, which I love. This is obviously something you know a lot about because this is your day-to-day.
Yeah, this is my career.
Yes.
Yeah, I got contacted from the library and they asked if I wanted to do a workshop. And I was like, absolutely, anyone that I can talk to about wigs, I will. I'll stop you on the street and talk to you about wigs. Perfect. So yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah.
So cool. So what is your background? How did you get into this as a career?
Yeah, well, I got my BFA in theater from Emporia State University, and I did some wig and hair design in undergrad, and then my husband and I moved to Iowa, and in Iowa City, I got my cosmetology license, and then from there, I told my friend who got her master's degree in wigs, and she works at the Guthrie, Trisha, she said, you need to go to American Players Theater, they will teach you how to make wigs. And so I was there for 2 summers and I learned how to make wigs, and now I'm here at Trinity and this is my 3rd season and I love it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, I was thinking about this and how multifaceted the skill set has to be. So you need to know the history, you need to know historically about the hair, but then you also need this sort of like hair styling.
Yes, absolutely.
Skills, you know, cosmetology type of stuff. So a lot of different things had to go into being able to do this with so many different styles and eras and things that you have to deal with.
Yeah, you end up learning a lot about how they would style their hair historically, what tools they had available for them for their different hair textures and types, all the way up into modern day with rocking out some 1980s hair from our production of Midsummer last year. So,
which is so recognizable. The moment you brought it, I was like, I know that head. I know her.
Yeah.
Midsummer. It was so amazing. Did you make this?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
This was a synthetic wig that we purchased. That then the process of, it's called fronting. When you cut off half of the wig and you attach, you can barely see it, but it's this fine lace. And you attach that, and then you hand tie every hair until you get a natural looking hairline. And I made this hairline for the actress that was going to be wearing it, so it matched her hairline perfectly. And it looked like it was growing out of her hair, or out of her head.
Unbelievable. How long is a process like that?
Every wig takes about 20 to 40 hours, depending on how much hand tying there is. When we do Christmas Carol, usually Scrooge has a wig, and men's wigs, because they're so short, you can't really get away with having like wefts of hair in the back, where they're like sewn on the tracks.
Yep.
So you need it to be completely hand tied, and that takes a long time. Yeah,
you've got to love wigs. To sit there for 20 hours. And
I do love it.
So, historical hairstyles, and this is what you're going to be touching upon in this workshop. You know, there weren't Instagram tutorials on how to do hairstyles from early. So how do you learn? You know, you may see a picture of what a hairstyle like that looked like, but how do you learn how they actually made it happen, or is it trial and error?
It's a lot of trial and error. There is some written research that people have done. Now with how popular vintage hairstyles are, anywhere from like the 40s to present day, someone's made a YouTube video about how to style vintage hair. So those have been helpful, but it is a lot of trial and error, especially with anything Victorian or 19th century. Like the farther back you go, the more you have to look at the picture and just go, how would I execute this? And that's when just having years of styling experience comes in hand.
Yeah, you can sort of look at a picture and say, I could probably make it happen if I did this.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So fascinating. So let's talk about a couple more of these wigs we have. This one is gorgeous. Molly and I are fighting over this one.
Oh. For who gets to wear it home.
Yeah, who gets to wear it home.
I know, in this rain. So this is a wig that I made for an actress, Rachel DeLude. She was in Death of a Salesman, and she played the woman. And her hair color is pretty close to this one, but we wanted the woman to have, so when you're styling and designing wigs, you also want to think about the character who's going to be wearing it and what their background is and why they would have this hair.
Right.
And she, not to ruin the plot of the story, but she's the woman that Willie Loman is seeing on the side that his wife doesn't know about. And so we gave her these kind of Veronica Lake waves.
Very glamorous.
Very glamorous. For her to have this youth and this beauty that he wasn't maybe seeing at home as much. And so this one, constructed, I bought the foundation and then sewed wefts all the way up the back, so it's wefted in the back.
Right.
And then hand tied in the front.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. So you handle hair and wigs. So sometimes an actress is actually just styling their own hair.
Yeah.
Do you have to sort of make the call of what is going to be more appropriate for the character?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And one thing that maybe you don't know is that before a show, like the time when people are getting prepped and getting ready to go on stage, we only have 30 minutes with them. So
call time is usually just half an hour, which is not a lot of time.
It's not. So if you're looking at a period show or anything set back in the day, we don't have time to do a full roller set or a wet set to set their actual hair to look like this. So like Rachel has hair that is like this, but in 30 minutes we can't get it there. So
or the actress would have to walk around all day with, you know what I mean? It'd be very intrusive into their life.
It's very intrusive, and then if you don't do a wet set, you do heat products or heat styling tools, and that's damaging to an actor's hair. And you think about the fact that they go through 50 to 70 performances.
Right, that's true.
For a run of a show, and there's no way that an actor or I want to do that to their hair. So.
Which brings up a good point, and also a topic that you will discuss in the workshop, which is maintenance of wigs and making sure they sort of keep this, you know, because who knows what's going to happen within the show. Maybe they're running around, maybe they're rolling, you know, maybe they get into a fight. Yeah, exactly.
And they're under hot lights, and they're sweating, and human hair, which these two are synthetic, but this guy is human. So it's going to fall. You know, any kind of moisture or heat or humidity, it's going to fall. Right. So maintenance on these wigs, I can usually do 2 or 3 performances before they really need to be reset. Some wigs, if it's an updo, you can go an entire week before resetting it. It depends every show.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's usually 8 performances at least a week, so that's a lot of wear.
It is a lot of wear, yeah. But
let's talk about this other one, because I love this updo.
Yeah, this is something that so there's a window display over at the library with some of my wigs. There's even a beard in there. And this is something that I styled up just for the window and kind of slapped a label on it. This wig was actually used in our production of Breeches that just closed. And so I pulled it out and styled it up, and I'm calling it turn of the century 1890s.
Sure, yeah.
Where I just threw rollers, did a wet set, and synthetic wigs you set with steam. They don't actually set on their own. Because they're plastic, you need to form the plastic in that new shape. So
and you can't heat style that because it melts.
It melts. Yeah. But steam, the heat from the steam somehow,
sciencey stuff.
Yeah, it works. And then you let it dry, and then you style it out. So yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So this workshop that you're doing for the library is actually going to be taking place at Trinity. So you're going to be bringing folks through your workshop, and how's it going to work?
So it starts at 2 o'clock on Saturday, and we're going to start with just kind of a presentation. I'm going to talk through my process, what it means to make a wig, design hair for somebody else in a play. And then we get to go through a tour of the space. And you can see backstage and where my little workshop is. And the presentation will be happening in the upper lobby, so that 2nd floor.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool. What are you working on right now at Trinity?
We are working on ragtime.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which we're taking in a different direction. We're starting modern.
Okay.
And then there's going to be one point in the show that's going to be fully realized period. And then we end in modern. So what that means for me is I have to figure out how to take either the actor's hair and make it look period for like one span of time. Or for instance, Rachel Warren, she has really short hair right now because we just gave her a haircut for Breeches. So I'm making her a longer wig that looks modern, that looks like it grew out of her head, and then we're going to throw it up halfway through the show. So it needs to be transitional. which changes kind of the construction and how it's made, and yeah.
That's a lot of planning. You know, when you think about a cast, especially something like a musical, which generally has larger casts, and you have to think about each character's track and where they're going and how many changes they may have.
Yeah, I need some answers before the rehearsal process even starts, because I need to know what that wig's going to go through, if it's going to be seen up or down or taken off. Sometimes we'll have shows where they need to get in and out of wigs really quickly, and what does that mean? So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it sounds like a lot of work, especially when you're talking about 20 hours to make a wig, but it sounds like a fun job. Do you just love what you do?
I love it so much. And, you know, if you had asked me 10 years ago if I thought I'd be doing this, I would have said, what?
So crazy.
Yeah, but I love it. So
very cool. Well, again, we'll have all the information for the workshop, which is this Saturday, at GoLocalProv.com, and you can see Emily's work at Trinity Rep. Emily, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This is a blast.
That wraps up my hour. Be sure to tune in at 4 o'clock for Kate Nagel with News and Politics, and I will see you next time.